So my name is Vanessa Guacci, and I am a qualified psychological therapist, and I'm also the founder and director of the mental health organization Inside Out Wellbeing. And I am essentially all about mental health. I'm all about well-being. Everything that I do is about helping people to essentially live their best lives by getting to know themselves better, and also by helping them to learn some new tools and techniques that they can use to live a fulfilling life, essentially. So I do that with, I guess, my own one-to-one work as a therapist, and also through Inside Out as well. So Inside Out Wellbeing started back in 2017, and this was a year after I finished my first degree, and I started working in a rehabilitation recovery home. So I was working with people who had been diagnosed with severe mental health difficulties such as schizophrenia, psychosis, etc. And one of the key things that I picked up on from my experiences working there was that there were quite a few people from racialized backgrounds, so essentially a lot of Black people who were in these services. So they were highly represented in these services. And then I guess later on with my experiences working in more primary care services, I noticed that, people from Black backgrounds and Black community were not really taking up these services. So it seemed like there was a bit of a gap. And I was always wondering, why is it that our community, we are essentially waiting until things are really severe before we actually, look for support, or we get the support that we actually need and we do deserve. There are lots of different issues that come up. At the end of the day, we're multifaceted beings, and of course, there may be lots of different things that do come up for us, especially now with what's going on in the world. We've had a pandemic, we've had an increase in fuel prices and cost of living, things of that. So that can lead to a lot of stress and a lot of pressure for people in general, for young people especially, trying to navigate the world and trying to make sense of the world as well. I think one key thing that has really come up recently is racial trauma. And it's interesting because racial trauma is something that, myself and my team and, other mental health advocates had been essentially preaching about, trying to get that message out there prior to 2020. And then, of course, we had, the death of George Floyd, and that essentially amplified the message of racial trauma, that, racial trauma actually does exist. And I think that itself was quite, speaking about racial trauma, especially in therapy sessions and in workshops, people feel comfortable to actually bring that up. And I guess I am very privileged and honored that it's also something that I can help and support people with. So because I have had my own experiences of racial trauma, perhaps there's, I guess people that I work with would feel comfortable, speaking to me about these difficulties. They know that I can relate to these difficulties as well. So it's not a thing where they're having to come into the sessions and, over explain themselves. We're able to create essentially a safe environment where people can have these discussions. So I think that's another thing that has really, come up and people feel more comfortable to talk about these days. I guess whether it's in therapy or out of therapy. But it's so interesting because another thing that I've realized is that when it comes to topics like racial trauma, many mental health practitioners are not even trained in that area. So for instance, when I was doing my initial training as a therapist, it wasn't something that we actually covered. I had to seek out my own training through other organizations and do my own research, and then use my experiences in combination with that to support other people as well. So yeah, that's one theme that I would say I'm very, very, very passionate about, just essentially validating people's experiences of racial trauma, and also finding practical ways to help manage that as well, because it's real, you know, it happens. So it's important that people find ways to be able to manage with that too. My team is absolutely amazing. Shout out to the Inside Out team. Love you guys so much. Yeah, my team. We are a team of. We've grown quite a lot recently. So I believe there's 11 of us, soon to be 12. And we have a range of different experiences within the team. And that's why I absolutely love my team so much. So across the team, everyone essentially at a base level is mental health first aid trained. Whether you're doing admin, whether you're doing marketing, whether you're doing social media, there's that basic training that everyone who's part of the Inside Out team has. I remember, I think the first time that I went to, it was almost like a networking event, and I came across a black psychiatrist, and this was probably in maybe around 2016, 2017. And for me, that did a lot, you know, seeing a black psychiatrist. It encouraged me, it gave me the reassurance that, okay, there's people who look like me who are doing the work that I would eventually like to do as well. And I think since then, you know, there has been, from what I have seen anyway, an increase in you know, black people getting into the psychology field, wanting to study more, wanting to be clinical psychologists, or you know, cognitive behavioral therapists. Even on Twitter as well, recently, over the last week, I've been seeing quite a few tweets, people, you know, congratulating others about getting onto different training programs as well. So it's really encouraging, really encouraging to see that there is more of us in the field, because it's needed. So this event, oh gosh, I am so excited for. So it's something that I thought of a couple of years ago. I noticed that there wasn't really much being done to support mental health advocates, well-being advocates, essentially community and grassroots based organizations who are working day in, day out to support people, to support underdeserved communities. So I remember I was trying to do some research to see what's out there. There's a couple of Wellbeing Awards, Wellbeing Advocate Awards that I have come across. But again, I noticed that lack of diversity. There wasn't anyone who looked like me who had been nominated for anything or had won any of those awards as well. And, you know, I'm the kind of person that if I see that there's a gap somewhere, then I'm definitely going to try and find a way to fill that gap as well. And I'm not going to wait for someone to come and validate my dreams before actually putting it in place. So I thought, you know what, if there isn't something out there for us, then let's do it. Let's create something for us. And so yeah, my team and I decided to put together the UK's first Wellbeing Awards for people from racialized backgrounds, so people from our community, again, people who we recognize are putting in so much work to serve our community as well. So this is something that we're doing to essentially celebrate 5 years of Inside Out. So it's been 5 years since I started Inside Out. And essentially we want to create an environment at the event where people are able to network. You know, this is probably going to be a really good opportunity for people in the wellbeing field, in the psychology field, psychiatry, to network with each other, as well as us being able to honor and celebrate those people who have made really significant achievements in this field as well. So I'm so excited. It's a boat party as well, so the awards is happening on a boat. It's a black tie event happening on the 26th of May, like you mentioned, and I can't wait. I've got my outfit ready. Tickets are available on Eventbrite, and if you go onto any of our social media pages, so Inside Out Wellbeing, all the information will be there. So on Instagram, Inside Out Wellbeing _, and on Twitter, Inside Out UK _ as well. You can even follow my page if you want, you know, behind the scenes as well. So it's Nessa, Nessa Banks _ as well, again on Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, the information's out there. If you know you're a mental health advocate, if you're, you know, passionate about mental health in our community, then, you know, this is an event that I would highly recommend you to be at.